This is part 12 of my series on how to make a locomotive for trains, and it's the B&LR 260 saddle tank number 5, built by Bayer Peacock. And in this session what I'm going to do is make the footplate or running plate, whatever it's called, that provides the floor of the cab and indeed the walkway along the locomotive. So first of all, I'm going to look in this view, and I'm going to hide everything except for the rear texture, which I'm going to use for as my guide. And for this, I think what I need to do is to make a standard primitive, a spline, and I'm going to make a rectangle, and I'm just going to make it sideways on, but it's the length of the foot plate. I think I'm a little bit shy there, so let's just make it 19'6", just to bring it in maybe a little more, 19'7". Yes, I think that's okay at each side, and just to make sure they're positioned okay. There we are. So we're running from the very front there underneath the smoke box to beyond the rear of the cab, and obviously this is a sideways on, so we need to rotate this. So the next thing to do is to rotate it down 90 degrees. Whoops, wrong direction as always. Let's make sure our constraints are on, and the y-axis, take it 90 degrees. So I was watching these coordinates down here, so there we are. Now obviously the height, the position is wrong there, but I'll come back to that. And also of course there is a bend, quite unusual, there is a bend in the footplate or running plate. Now I need to see how wide I need it, so I'm going to unhide my name, and I'm going to unhide the two planes which provide my textures. And let's have a look up here. There it is, and I think we'll find our blue. There it is, right in the middle, hidden away. So let's extend the rectangle. It's only 10 inches at the moment. Let's make it, let's see, these are in feet, so it's 1, 2, 3, 6, it's about 6'8". Let's try that. And how are we doing there? Not too bad. Need to be at this position here. Let's make it a different colour so it might show off a bit better. Click away. Oops. Click away, and we're spot on. I think we're spot on there. Just make doubly sure that it's centered, and what we're looking for here is that it's centered this way, not so, so I think we're there. Yeah, I think it's at about 8 1/3 inches towards the rear. Now before I convert it to a poly or anything like that, or an editable spline, for this rectangle what I want to do is bring in some curved corners. So I'm going to put in a bit of corner radius there. I think 2 inches is about right, and then we can convert this to an editable spline. You'll see that extrude is still available to us, and then judging by the position of the bend in the curve in the running plate, which I think is about here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refine this by adding in here, and I'm going to position them more accurately in a moment, because then what I'll be able to do when it extrudes, I should have, I think I'm right there, I should have a separate polys, but if I don't, there's another way around that, which I'll show you in a moment. And let's just make sure, let's just highlight those, just find them. There they are. Yes, I think they're just about in correct position. So let's make sure they're in the same position. 37708, 38268. Well, I'm going to make that 38, and I'm going to make that 38 as well. Okay, right, so let's now extrude and see what we get. So looking wireframe, and we haven't got any separated planes there. You'll see what I mean in a minute. The actual depth needs to be about 3 inches by the looks of it. It's maybe a little thick. Yes, it is far too thick. So it needs to come down to 2 inches. Okay. And now let's convert the whole thing to a editable poly. Does that help us at all? No, this is what I was wondering about, that I've done. I'm trying to get the bend in there, so I'm trying to create a face separate poly here. So what am I going to do? There's two ways around it. I can either redraw the whole thing, which I'm not all that keen to do. I can take it back. No, it won't let me unpoly it. So, quick way is simply to clone. It's in the wrong. It's probably in the Y. Yeah, there we are. Clone. Okay, and let's draw a box. What I'm going to do is chop off the bit that I don't want. To there. And extend that really wide. And bring it over. Okay, so we'll select this one and we'll turn it into a compound object, a boolean, click operand B and chop off the front. And now all we need to do is to convert that back to a poly, always a good idea, and then make another box and take that up nice and big, doesn't really matter. And then I'm not worried about that there's going to be a gap there at the moment. Just pick the second copy, boolean, and pick operand B and drop that one off there. And then I like to always convert it back to an editable poly. Okay, let's give it a different colour so we know which one we're dealing with, and position it. Not there, there, okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the vertices here. First of all, I think I can just delete those. No, I can't. I'll delete those. Those are those ones I put in, which I shouldn't have done. There we are. And Y coordinate. Zoom right in. There we go. And I'm going to take these now both together and move them down, not that way, always the wrong way. I think actually the bend is a little bit further forward than that, so let's take those out and bring those vertices, need to be about there, and then these vertices going forward. Zoom right in, have a look in wireframe, just make sure they're correct. Okay, now rather than rotate this front part, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move up these vertices here. So I'm just going to raise those. That position. Still a little bit thin, but I think we'll go with that. And let's have a look. Well, very cleverly I've managed to eliminate the faces that I want to keep. And also far too low down on the cylinders, so that's no good at all. So we're going to do this again. I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. I'm going to hide everything else apart from these. So very cleverly, by eliminating some of those vertices, I've eliminated the very faces that I need to keep. But I can use this as a guide, so it doesn't really matter. So not sure if I can, if I go back to standard primitives of box. Yes, you see now what's missing here, as far as I'm concerned, is the curved corners which are available in the splines, which I really want. So how am I going to do this? I think I need to go back and do just a rectangle again. Let's measure that down. Let's get the width. Width is obviously 6'8", and those went to 2 inches. 2 inches. Okay, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to an editable spline straight away, and I'm going to come in and alter the vertices by deleting these vertices here, and then bring those round to give me a right angle. It's just an artifact left over from the screen redraw. Okay, and just let's make sure we're centered. Yeah, I thought that we're a fraction of an inch out. And now we'll just extrude this. It was 2 inches, I think it should be 2.5. Looks a little shallow to me. There we are. And it gives us the rounded corners at that end. So now we can move this into position. I think it's the X. No, it's not. Of course not. I don't think I've ever chosen the correct position. There we are. Still feels to me like it looks like it's over a bit there, or the underneath one. Yeah, it's not quite positioned. There we are. So that's given us that one, and we can simply now move these edit mesh. Move these vertices down this position. And then I'm just going to center, underline, and I'm going to clone that wrong way. Let's try Z. 90 degrees. move it into position. You can see where I'm going with this, and then all I do is I adjust the vertices there so they're in this position. Okay, and just center everything up on that and align it to the world. Group that. Center on this one. The height, that is. And then we can lose that one. And the yellow one, there it is. And unhide my 3. And then check on the position. I think a little fraction higher. You'll be able to see once I bring the side of the cabs back in. And then ungroup. And I'm going to unhide everything here. So what I need to do here is raise this section so that it's sitting on top. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to need to bring this back on the x-axis a little bit to get the angle. Still not going to be right, is it? I'm going to go too far back because there we are, that's as most as I think I can take it. Okay, and looking there we can see that there's the wheels are actually cutting through this mesh. At this stage I don't think it's going to be a problem because I'm going to hide the I'm going to hide where the wheels show through with the splashes, which are on the, you'll see the splashes here. There we are, those curved bits there, they're going to go over the wheels. And just want to check that the cab looks okay. But it is actually, it should be extending slightly over the end. It's yeah, I think that's okay. That's enough, and that's actually hit that pretty well. Yeah, it's spot on. Oh well, can't be too bad. And so that gives me my footplate. And I know it looks bizarre at the moment, but we're going to clear it all up. No problem there. Okay, so the other part that I want to do in this section is to make the smoke box, and just looking at that there, it looks like it's just another cylinder in shape, and it's going to have special texture on it. And for that cylinder, all I'm going to do is use the boiler cylinder, a clone of that. Let's have a look. And that of course is not the boiler, that's the saddle tank. Let's try again. And you'll see that I haven't reduced the boiler to a poly at the moment. Now I just need to, let me see, just hang on to this, clone and this, hide everything else. And one of the things that's clear is the smoke box is at an angle at the front there. So my next step is to edit the clone. Just bring it in a bit first. Not worrying about centering it at the moment. And it looks to me like, yes, let's have a look up here. Yes, I need to make it a fair bit bigger. Smokebox is a fair bit bigger. So having left it as a cylinder, I'm going to try and go back down this list, and it'll probably do all sorts of crazy things, but I think I'd like to have more sides to it. Yeah, look at that. That's just the texture that's going bonkers like that. I'm not going to worry too much about it at the moment. Just bring it down. So it's almost, this is the circle I'm going for here. And because I'm in the cylinder, I've still got the radius, so I can, let's push the radius up to 1 foot 10. See if we get there. I suspect it's meant to be 2 foot, but 1 foot 11 is probably going to do it. Let's have a look at that. Which has got some distortion there, I think. No, I think that's going to do it. Okay, and the cylinder itself doesn't look too bad. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty impressive. So in fact that's going to be just a waste of time doing all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to not alter the cylinder. It's 1 foot 10 and it's 24, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make another cylinder and give it 24 faces, sides they call it here, and make the radius 1 foot 10. And it's obviously too long, but never worry. And then no, wrong way to rotate, of course. That's not right, is it? There we go. 90. Let's just centre that a moment, and that will allow me to position. Okay. I don't quite know. I think I was centering on this texture by mistake. Let's try and center it on the correct thing. There we are. And okay. And then I just need to drop it down. Foot 10, no, it should be 1 foot 11, wasn't it? That's better. 1 foot 11. Make sure we're all okay here. Yeah, that's alright. And just going to move it x-axis out. Wait a minute. Let's just have a look at this. Just have a look in the editing. That doesn't really matter, does it? So I'm going to lose that claim completely. Here we are. So let's position ourselves here, and then edit the mesh of a cylinder, and draw that back. To about midway point now. And what I can do is just rotate that, but that shrink. That'll make a problem with the cylinder. It'll actually become it'll taper it if I just rotate there. Those points, I'll show you. Those points, if I, there we are, it's tapering. So that's no good. So I can't just do that for this tapered position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a box as a guide, and doesn't matter its size, bring it over, just rotate it seems to be at 5 degrees. So if I now wireframe it, go into this alone, edit the vertices. So I'm going to bring the first one in tight. Let's have a look at these. That one's okay. Just pick up those. Always, if you find you have a better way of doing this, please leave a comment, because I'd be very appreciative of finding ways of doing things like this which weren't so time consuming. But I suspect there's precious little that you can actually do. I mean, short of making, I suppose what I could have done is made the box, this box guide a bit bigger. Actually, that's not a bad idea. What I'll do is I'll undo what I've done here, if I can. Let's just eliminate that. There we are. And what I'll do is I'll make this box, which is at the correct angle. What I'm going to do is cut the cylinder as a boolean. So let's make that nice and big that way. And what else do we need to make it big? This way. There we are. And now let's have a look in here, see what happens. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell that to become a compound object, a boolean, and the operand B is going to be the box. There we go, and it's chopped it. Clever, clever. Now we convert it to a poly. Let's have a look with the other things. Oh, we're getting there. Oh yes, it's got a strange sort of sit up and beg look at the front, but it is beginning to come more into the way it should. And again, I'm not worried about the smokebox breaking through the foot plate like that, the running plate. But what I do want to do is make sure that we've got the position of the smokebox joining the boiler. I want to make sure that there's that little gap is visible, because that's a part of the design look of the locomotive, even though it's not on the plan. You can see that from the photograph. So what else? Well, at the front there we've got the smokebox door, and I have a particular way of making smokebox doors which might be useful. What I use is a sphere, and so there we are. Ooh, zillions of polys, and I'm going to make that 24 segments, the same as I made the smokebox. And the radius I'm not too worried at the moment. Let's have a look at the radius. So segments, take the segments down to 24, and the radius, it was 1 foot 11, so I'm going to say 1 foot 9. That's a more accurate. Now the next way to do it, because there's a slight bulge in the smokebox door, it's not just a round door, there is a slight curve in it. So with our sphere, we have to rotate our sphere 90 degrees, and then I think what I want to do actually is reduce the number of segments down to 16. Yeah, and I'm then going to edit the mesh of the sphere. I'm going to reduce, I'm going to take out all of those polys, so I'm just left with that. Let's center, and then let's compress. What are we doing here? see. I should be coming up with a... Let's save this just in case. It's number 5, version 1.1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close Gmax and open it up again. There we are, just took a moment. There we are. Now I want to compress this. That's going in the wrong direction. Just I'm going to flatten it down. Just give me my smokebox door. Now, and I'm going to rotate it 5 degrees and then position it. Let's have a look, get right in there. Felt a bit wobbly, I was moving into okay. Yes, I think we're okay there. Let's have a look here. Don't worry about this rough edge there, we're going to sort that out in due course. That gives us a bit of a bow-fronted. Anything I've slightly exaggerated it a little bit, but that's no bad thing on some of these models. That gives us our smokebox door. Clearly we've still got a problem here with this running plate. But first of all, let's reset and center. Actually what we can do now is just convert that to a poly. And let's make sure that's a poly, let's make sure it's centered. Okay, so there we are, the loco is beginning to look much more like a locomotive. In the next tutorial, what I will do in the next the next demonstration of what I'm doing, I will make the front bogie, and it's like a Bissell type bogie almost, but it's on a long mounting there. The actual rotation point is somewhere back here, so I should make that in the next one and proceed from there. So I hope this has been of interest. If you have enjoyed my video, please make comments, maybe give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. It's free, there's no commitment whatsoever. I don't know who you are if you subscribe, so I can't berate you with emails or whatever, but please do subscribe because it does encourage me to make more of these.